Hi, this is Sanjay Kumar Verma from Unikaksha. So my dear friends, in the earlier session, we have already discussed how to inject the user data using of the .sh script file. So you no need to share your user data in the main template file. So now in this session, we are going to discuss how to configure of the AWS load balancer using of the Terraform. So we know that using of the load balancer, we can balance of the load, right? So AWS provide the different types of load balancer. So right now we are going to configure the application load balancer. So in this scenario, I will configure the web server. So when you are going to configure the load balancer, so minimum you require two virtual machine, or you can say two instance. So I have to write a code. So before processing all the thing, I want to show you I don't have any kind of load balancer in my AWS web console. So this is my AWS web console. So my dear friend, only one instance is running, which name is Uniserver, and then I will show you the detail about of the load balancer. So you can see this is the load balancer. Now we don't have any kind of load balancer. So right, so I will show you how to provision of the load balancer. So friends, this is my Terraform machine. So inside the EC2 directory, let me do the LL. I have the code, correct? So this is my provider file, and this is my security group, and this is my install.apache.sh file, and this is my ELB code, that my load balancer code, right? So my dear friend, let me open this my ELB code. Let me do the full size. Okay. So first of all, try to understand. Let me explain this. Here, I'm going to inject the user data, right? So here I will create two machine, right? So one machine, which name is web server 1, correct? Just a second. So now you can see it's an image web server 1. You can assign any name, right? So this is the AMI ID. So I want to configure the cross zone load balancer, right? So my both the machines should be available in the same region, but different availability zone, different AZ, right? So my this machine should be provisioned inside the AP South 1A, and I'm going to attach this security group, right? Here I'm going to inject this user data file, right? This is my template file, and this is the tag, correct? In the next machine, I am going to create another machine, but this machine should be available in different AZ, not same subnet, not same availability zone, right? Different AZ, correct? Here I am going to inject the user data, because you know your website should be configured on all the machine. Doesn't matter how many machines you are going to configure, but minimum you require two machines when you are going to configure the load balancer, correct? Here this is the code for the load balancer. So this is the same. I think there is no issue between. So this is the name of my load balancer, which name is morning ELB, correct? Name morning ELB. Availability zone, that means this is cross zone load balancer. So my instances will be available. One is AP South 1A, another is AP South 1B, correct? Instance port 80, that means I want to expose my website on port number 80, and this is not a HTTPS, so that's why we are getting the port number 80. Perfect. Now health check. My dear friend, when you have done work with AWS web console, so I think you are already aware these things, correct? So now this is the important thing, how to add of your instances in the load balancer, right? So you have to share the instance ID, correct? AWS underscore instance, this is the resource, and this is the name of my first server, right? You can see this is the name of my first server. So AWS underscore instance dot web server dot ID, right? You will write like this. Another code, that is AWS underscore instance web server dot ID, correct? And now you can see, okay, perfect. Save and quit. And I have the security group. You can view one more time the security group. Why? Because when you will not allow the port number 80, your website will not be exposed and you are not able to access of your EC2 instances, because these are Linux instances, correct? So my dear friends, what to do after this? We have to run the Terraform validate. Please wait. Perfect. Now you can run the Terraform FMT to check the format. Everything is fine because I have done some changes in this file. After this, you can do the dry run Terraform plan. Terraform plan is not mandatory, but this is the right thing when you are directly going to deploy of your code in the production environment. So before execution of this, you can check out how many resources are going to provision by your code. So now you can see there are 4 resources are going to provision, correct? Now let me explain it. First of all, it will create a load balancer, right? Which name is morning ELB. Perfect. After this, it will create a web server 1, correct? Then it will create a web server 2, and after this it will create a security group, correct? So very good. Let me do the clear. We have to run the command Terraform apply. Great. Let me pass out the value yes. Yeah, I'm getting the error VPC something. Let me check now. It's related to the security group. Just a second. Okay, my dear friend, you can read this message. The security group is already available, right? So let me check now, because when security group is available with the same name, so you can't create the another security group. Yes, Uniserver. So what to do? We can change the name of the security group in the code. Then you can deploy another. So here I am going to change the name of this security group. Like you can assign the name, any name, like my ELB server access, ELB server access, correct? So here we have to change the name again, ELB, where you have the uni server access, where you have to change the name, WQ. Again we have to modify the main file my ELB template, because here ELB server, correct, in this level. And again this is the web server 2 and change into web server 1. ELB, correct? Let me do the save and quit. One more time you can verify ELB server, perfect, WQ. Again you have to run the code Terraform apply. Now you will get the success. Yes, we have to pass out the value yes. Again it's creating the security group, you can see, because now this time we have a different name, ELB server. It's creating my instances, web server 1 and web server 2. Wow. Now it's created the load balancer. So it's successfully provisioned the 4 resources, right? So let me check now on my web console. Let me do the refresh. First of all, we have a different security group, ELB server access, correct? And now we should have a, let me do the refresh, 3 instances because uni server is already running. One is web server 1, another is web server 2. Great. And now you can check out load balancer, right? You have a load balancer, morning ELB, right? And my dear friend, when you have an idea about the load balancer, so using of the DNS, you can expose of your load balancer. So I have already configured a web server on both the machine, web server 1 and web server 2. So let me copy this and paste and go. But right now load balancer is not working at this level because I am going to hit the individual IP address of the web servers, right? So when you want to expose and when you want to share the DNS name with your customer, with your client, that means in the backend load balancer will automatically load the manage entire the load. So how to expose of your load balancer? So my dear friend, this is the DNS name. Copy this, okay, and paste into the browser. Yes, so now you can see web server using of the Terraform. So as per the request, it will distribute of your load on both the machine. So this is the idea behind of this. You can configure of your load balancer using of the Terraform.